Okay, so we're going to keep going with the good stuff. People at the back, we have free space here, so you can sit on the front row if you want to come. I don't know what this thing in Spain that everyone loves sitting at the back, so where it's dark and where you cannot see what exactly are they doing. So our next panel, I think it's going to be very interesting, very different profiles, but very senior profiles talking about the technologies that are revolving, around traveling and traveling smarter. So the panel is called Technologies That Make Travel Smarter and Increase Customer Satisfaction, or another way of saying how to make people happy while traveling. So please welcome our next panelists, and I hope they're ready to rumble. So let's welcome the moderator, Pablo Pastega from Flixbus. Big applause to Pablo, please. Big applause to Pablo, come on. Bruno Gutierrez, head of Airbus BizLab. Bruno, there we go. Come on, there's too many people there. Big applause for Bruno, come on. Timo Butenfisch, co-founder of Cultra. Come on, Timo, big applause. Where's the moto? Where's the bike? Bosco Gutierrez, Digital BizDev for Digital Hub. Bosco, thank you for joining us. Big applause. And last but not least, my good friend Jaime Rodrigo de Santiago Concha, General Manager for Spain and Portugal for BlaBlaCar. Big applause, guys. Enjoy, stage is yours.
So, thanks all for coming here. I think we're going to start the panel by introducing ourselves. So I'm Pablo Pastega. I'm the managing director for Flixbus. Flixbus is an international transport operator and a startup company founded in Germany 5 years ago. We have 1,200 employees and operations in 27 countries. I'll let the turn to my colleagues.
So I'm Bruno Gutierrez. I founded and I'm managing actually the Airbus BizLab, which are the aerospace accelerators. We have actually 4 platforms, one in Toulouse, Hamburg, Bangalore, and newly opening the Madrid one. And well, we are corporate accelerator with a very specific concept as we are mixing up intrapreneur and entrepreneur. We call that hybrid concept, and maybe I can explain you later on that.
Hi, everybody. My name is Timo. I'm co-founder of Cultra. We are a company that has 15,000 scooters in 6 different countries. Maybe some of you know us through the sharing model. We do scooter sharing. We're the largest operator in Europe. We'll end up the year with 5,000 scooters, which you can use via your app. We're in 5 cities, and we have more than 500,000 users.
Hello, I'm Bosco Gutierrez. I'm digital business development manager as a part of the team that has developed Wondo. Wondo is a mobility as a service platform. And the intention is to gather all the transport services in the city through a payment and unique ticket in order to provide that service.
Hi, my name is Jaime Rodriguez de Santiago, and I'm the general manager for BlaBlaCar in Germany and in Spain. In case you don't know BlaBlaCar, it's the world leader in mid and long distance carpooling. We have 65 million members in 22 different countries, and actually 5 million members here in Spain.
Good. So let's start with the questions. Maybe to start with, based on the title of the panel, I think everybody wants to always put the customer first. So I wanted to know from your side, how do we actually put the customer at the center of the strategy? And especially in your respective countries, how do you detect the needs of this customer, of this constantly changing customer? And how do you not only identify those needs, but how do you try to anticipate them in order to adapt your product to those needs?
I can go. As we are a company and a service that is based on a peer-to-peer community, it's very difficult not to have the customer at the center because we're built on top of the community, right? Apart from the typical incoming channels that we'll have, probably like customer service and stuff like that, maybe the most differential thing that BlaBlaCar has is what we call BlaBla Help. Everything is with BlaBla, sorry. So BlaBla Help is the service that enables advanced users and ambassadors of the service to onboard newcomers and to help other people in real time when they come to the platform. So that's a very qualitative insights that we have, both coming from those ambassadors, the BlaBla helpers, and the visitors to the website. And I think that's very peculiar to our service.
Anybody else?
Maybe in our case it's different because mobility as a service is a new product. There are little experience in a few regions. So in order to build the platform, we have to be connected to the final user. So the way we are building this platform is based in 3 columns. No? The business model is not clear how it must be developed, this model, the technology, and of course the user experience. No? So we have an user experience team and a communication team working together in order to understand the needs of the final user.
Yeah, maybe to add to this, what we do at Kultra, we do focus groups with customers, but also with people that are not customers, and we try to understand their reasons to buy. For example, in shared mobility, we found out that price, for example, is not a really relevant factor. To give an example, no? When we launched in Madrid our service, Car2Go was the only car-sharing operator. They were charging 19 cents. And we as scooters entered with 24 cents. So it was quite surprisingly that we as a scooter with a lighter vehicle were able to charge a higher price. No? So it's very important to understand what's important. For example, in this vehicle sharing world, the most important thing is density. You want to be as close as possible. When somebody opens the app, nobody wants to walk more than 2 minutes to have a vehicle close to them.
Well, a few words about our customers. You know that we are a B2B company. Well, at least we used to be a B2B company. So if I'm speaking about the aircraft, commercial aircraft division, we used to have the operators, the companies, the airline company as a customers. Nevertheless, we know that now the new trends are built by the end customers, which are the passengers. So we have launched a series of initiatives in order to connect Airbus to the end user, you as passengers, through some apps like iFly 380. You will have the opportunity to be part of a community of passengers flying on 380 and make a lot of comments about the product by itself, but not only hosting in our accelerator some startup working on B2C, like offering segmented payment of your flight ticket, things like that. So there is a move from Airbus to a pure B2B up to a B2C through digitalization.
Good. So we talked about the customers. I think another part of the question mentioned technology and the smart technology. I would like to understand, I mean, there's a group of buzzwords that we all hear about. To name a few, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, blockchain, chatbots. I would like to maybe understand a bit better, and I think the audience will also appreciate if you could maybe give us some hints on which technologies you are working on right now in your companies, and which ones you see can really have an impact in the long term in the transportation or mobility space.
I can take that one. So, as you said, there are a lot of buzzwords, and most of those are definitely useful, but maybe not for every business. I'm not sure, maybe Timo knows better, I'm not sure we're going to see autonomous bikes in the future. It would be fun to watch, but I'm not sure. But one thing we are actually working a lot with is with artificial intelligence. And it's already having an impact on our business, and it's definitely going to have more impact in the future. So right now, we're using artificial intelligence to create algorithms that allow us to connect passengers with any driver that's coming nearby them. So hence multiplying the matching and multiplying the possibilities of finding a ride. And it's obvious that in probably mid-term, long-term, we will have autonomous vehicles. How it will impact our business, it's still to be defined. I think no one really knows how it is going to be implemented or when. but it's clearly going to have an impact. So out of all those buzzwords, to me, the most impactful right now is artificial intelligence.
Yeah. In our case, I mean, I agree completely. We are using data analytics and algorithm in order to connect different journeys with different people. But what I see is in order, once we are developing that kind of services, it will pass from the mobility as a service to the passenger as a service. In that case, all of that technology could be added in order to provide new services to the user. But right now, I don't think we are in that state.
Yeah, we are using artificial intelligence and algorithms in the way when we talk about operations of our business. You might have asked yourself, these 1,200 scooters that are spread around Madrid, how do they get charged? No? So we have a team of around 80 people going around in electric vans, swapping batteries 24 hours. No? So for us, it's extremely important to optimize these operational costs in our business. So what we're trying to do is like playing a huge Tetris, no? And there's, you have to fit the right vans at the right moment to the scooters at the right moment of the day. So that's where we're using new technology. What we are also launching very soon will be dynamic pricing, because obviously, as you can imagine, along the day we have different peaks. So in the morning and in the evening, we have the key hours, no, when people are using our service. So that's when we try to optimize and in lower moments of the day to charge less prices. No, so we will introduce very soon dynamic pricing.
Well, in our case, we are using all this new technology in several aspects of our activity. Artificial intelligence, obviously, for all what is about autonomy. You have probably seen some pictures or articles about Vahana, which is our flying autonomous vehicle. So obviously, artificial intelligence is about that. VR as well in entertainment. We are trying to bring VR into the cabin for entertainment, passenger entertainment, and providing services around that. And data analytic, obviously, for all our manufacturing process. This is some and maintenance, preventive maintenance. So there is a large scope of usage for all this new technology that we are already using and that we are discovering every day.
Good. So in the world of transportation, there's basically two worlds, no? The world of urban mobility and the world of long distance travel, no? Where BlaBlaCar is and where eCultra is in the urban, no? Just to give a couple of examples. So in both of these worlds, we always have something which is called multimodality. So we need to people take different means of transport to get to one place, and actually, as you can see in latest developments, big companies, big behemoths in this world of transportation, like Uber, is buying companies which are not. Which are working in others means of transport, no? Bikes or scooters, right? So maybe I would like to understand also how in your companies you're envisioning this multimodality, and if you're thinking or you're considering to go not only focusing on your current product, but also get a broader picture of different means of transport and including them in your offer.
Yes, of course. I mean, from our point of view, this is too big, no? And there will be key players, and all of them must collaborate in order to create such a big platform. It's as important as the user is the transport operators, but also the public and private transport operators, the councils, and the technology around that. So probably the big challenge right now is to collaborate among all of them in order to reach a common goal. No? Right now, everything is so automated that everybody is fighting their own battles. No? So, and this is probably we are wasting time, money, and effort, not doing with a same goal, no, and same.
Well, I see the future. It's a little bit for us as an operator. It's not so optimal, because I really think it will be a scenario like we know today from the hotel reservation, for example, no, with the Booking.com, who will own the customer, and there will be the hotels. And if they don't collaborate with Booking, they will not sell their rooms. So I think this is a little bit where the scenario goes. I mean, we will be an operator. It would be too ambitious to say that Kultra would be the worldwide platform for mobility. So we have to understand that value chain and see how we position ourselves in this, no? And there are different strategies. There are car sharers, they don't want to collaborate with different platforms. There are other car sharers that are open to it. I think everybody's testing right now. Everybody's talking to everybody. I mean, honestly, in the last, let's say, year, around 250 platforms have contacted us to integrate us in their because there are a lot of platforms from all different kinds, and we'll see who will win this game, no? And I believe the winner takes it all, like we see in Booking.com. That's a little bit my vision about this.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think that on our side we have already tried to shape the future and to start thinking about what could be intermodality in the aeronautics. So we have just set up a partnership with Audi, and in order to work around the concept which is called the pop-up, where you're going to start your travel, your trip inside the city with an autonomous car, and then in a platform you will be picked up by a big drones and continue your intercity travel. Obviously, this is not tomorrow. No worry, don't try to book any yet. But this is just to start working on what could be intermodality and what does it mean, and what are the concerns that we will have to clear.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I think strategically it's a very interesting point, because right now we're seeing two trends. We have these 250 aggregators that contacted you, and then we have these companies that are trying to be vertically integrated, like Uber. And I think that before some consolidation happens, it's really going to be really hard to understand where all of this is going. And that's on the urban transportation, but if you go even to mid and long distances, where you guys participate too, on FlixBus, it's even more interesting, because there's a lot of things happening at the same time. There's a liberalization of a lot of markets, so train market, bus markets in some countries. So strategically, I tend to agree with Timo that eventually it will be a winner-takes-all market, but the time to get to that point is really, really difficult to predict right now.
Okay, good. So in this transportation world in which we are all in, besides the customer, which is generally the focus of all companies, we have a very important key stakeholder, which is basically the government and the different administrations that regulate different types of transport in a particular region or country, right? Like Spain. I think we've all seen the latest developments around the in-city transportation. And I wanted to also ask you about this topic, which I think is key, no? I would like to understand basically how do you think legislation and the political parties and the governments that handle all these subjects, are they really being a barrier for innovation? And maybe just to make it more interesting for the audience, let's talk about not world view but Spain view. Do you think that really in Spain the different administrations and the political parties are being a stopper for innovation? And if so, how do you think, what should we do as actors to try to change this, right?
Yeah, maybe I can start with this, because it's our day-to-day, no? We're talking to governments day-to-day. First of all, number one message is every government, every administration works with the different rules. No? Barcelona and Madrid work in complete different ways right now, Valencia as well. Secondly, there are basically two ways as an operator to access the market. One is to go and throw 1,000 units in the streets without collaborating or without speaking. The other one is go first, talk to the government and understand what the rules are. We at Kutra, we have always preferred the second one. And third is really to understand the agenda. They don't have a problem with shared mobility. They don't have a problem that these are zero-emission vehicles. The main issue and the thing that is discussed about is the public space. Because the kick scooters or the free-floating bikes, they're occupying the public streets. And obviously there are certain stakeholders, certain citizens, which are against this. So this is basically the only negative effect of the free-float sharing. So that's what has to be regulated. And it has to be regulated. And it will happen. So in Barcelona, they are since 1 year already working on a regulatory framework which will go now into Pleno in October. And you've read in Madrid, they are just now published a new ordenanza which will also start regulating the free float service.
So even though Spain has been probably the most controversial country for BlaBlaCar, at the same time, I don't think Spain is particularly aggressive against innovation compared to other countries. I think each country has a different way of organizing historically, and that has its effects. And sometimes, actually, we have good news. Like last week, for the first time, we got a definition in the Spanish law about carpooling in Andalusia, actually, in the climate change law. What worries me a bit more, and it's not only about Spain, but I think we can make the broader point about Europe, it's the fragmentation of regulation. Creating a company in Europe, it's way harder than in the US or Asia because your market is absolutely fragmented with very different regulations in each country. And expanding internationally is just an obstacles race. You just need to find out how to do in every country to grow. And I don't think that's very competitive when you have Silicon Valley on one end of the world and you have Asia that is super determined and working super hard on the other end of the world. So either we fix that, or long term we're going to have a lot of problems to compete.
On our side, it's a little bit different because when you are speaking about regulation, most of the time you are speaking about security. When you are flying vehicles, the main concern is about security. So that means that each step of innovation you introduce, you will have to demonstrate and to make the demonstration to regulators that this is safe. So it's one thing to fly one autonomous vehicle. It's another challenge to fly 1,000 of them and to manage the traffic inside a city. So we know that European regulation and US regulation are quite strict. We can expect that in some other country there will be lighter. So how do you manage that? We have to work closely with the regulator, with this institution, in order to be sure that we in Europe, we will not lose this race, and to be sure that we will open the sky to this kind of innovation. But I mean, we know that risk management is approached differently in different countries.
Yeah. I mean, what is needed is a common policy, no? In order to improve and to push the innovation. The government must understand that they don't have to lead the innovation. They have to regulate and to allow the companies to improve, no? And in that respect, the kind of legislation they are working on sometimes in some regions are in order to avoid or to punish and to solve a problem in a short term. No? But they should understand that the mobility is changing and it will change for the future. So the policy must be created for the next generation, not for the next 2-3 years.
Okay. Good. So we have 4 minutes. I don't know if there are any questions in the audience. There's a hand there. You're not Manuel.
Hi, hello. I'm Luis, founder of TourSnap. You were mentioning about how fragmented is Europe. And actually what I've seen is that many startups go to the United States just after starting very locally and look for that option instead of trying to push forward the project within the country. I don't know what's your point on that, and I think probably many of you can talk about the experience being on travel. Thank you.
Okay, just talking regarding the mobility. Okay, probably you can go there in order to get investment, but the mobility is a global concept, but right now of local implementation. So if you want to, because of the legislation and the different stakeholders, the councils and the local public transport operators, so in that regards, probably you can get there the money, develop the technology, but the agreements and the business model must be implemented here in Europe.
I don't know. I think it's very dependent on the business model and the type of platform. In the case of BlaBlaCar, for instance, the US, it's an interesting market, but it's not a priority. We have other markets where we realized we could have a bigger impact. For instance, we launched Russia in 2016, early 2016, and everyone thought we were crazy, and now it's actually the second market together with France. We've realized that in some countries, different from the US, where some of the characteristics of our business don't fit that well, it would make more sense. But I think if the business model makes sense in the US, it's a great market because, as we were discussing before, it's extremely homogeneous in terms of regulation, and you have immediate access to 200 million people, essentially.
Yeah, maybe one learning from scaling up the business. We are now in 30 cities. We scaled up way too early, so whenever you can stay and, like, say, penetrate one single city deeply, that's much better than going for too many cities. The problem is once you're in a city and you're there with few users and few units, it's a problem. So my recommendation is rather stay in fewer cities and really do it well there.
Let's finish with an optimistic view. We have been lucky enough in the Biz Lab to host 4 US company startups who decided to move from United States to Toulouse, Hamburg, and Madrid to develop their company. So everything can happen.
Good. Well, I think time's up. Thank you very much to all the participants, and let's give a round of applause.